Assalamualaikum, dear viewers. In last lecture, we discussed about the gastric digestion. In the gastric digestion, food substances change into the semi-digested acidic form known as the chyme. Now, this chyme move to the last part of the alimentary canal known as the small intestine. Small intestine is a long, highly coiled, tube-like structure which fills the most of the space of the abdominal cavity. This small intestine around 6 meter in length and 2.5 centimeter in long, and small intestine is divided into three parts. Number one, duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. So, first of all, we discuss about the duodenum. Duodenum is the first part of the small intestine, which start from the pyloric region of stomach. Duodenum is a very important part of small intestine, in which two ducts are open and carry the secretion of two most important glands. So now we draw the diagram of these two important glands. Then we discuss about their functions. The first gland is the liver. Liver is the largest gland of the body. It is reddish brown in color and present just toward the left side. Liver is the lobular organ. It consists of two lobes. One is the small lobe, other one is the large lobe, and large lobe is further divided into two lobes. These lobes are connected connected to each other through the connective tissue known as the ligaments. This liver produces a juice known as the bile juice. This bile juice is transported through a duct known as the hepatic duct. Through hepatic duct, this bile juice move toward the sac-like structure known as gallbladder, where it is stored. When two hepatic ducts combine to each other to form the common hepatic duct, then the duct which arises from the gallbladder known as the cystotic duct. Now these ducts merge to each other and then enter into the duodenum, where these bile juice perform their function. Bile juice is greenish alkaline fluid which contain no enzymes. When we look at the chemical composition of bile juice, it consists of two important components. Number one, bile pigments. Bile pigments are the excretory product of RBC. When RBC died after the 120 days, the hemolytic of RBC takes place. Then hemoglobin is released. When this hemoglobin further metabolized, it changes into the two parts. One is the hem, other one is the globin. When the metabolism of globin takes place, it produces the bile pigments known as biliverdin and bilirubin. These are the poisonous substances so liver excrete along with the bile juice into the duodenum. Then they are eliminated from the body through the alimentary canal. Then next component of bile juice is bile salts. Bile salts are sodium bicarbonate, sodium thiolates, these bile salts perform the two very important functions. Number one, emulsification of fat. Emulsification is the process in which bile salts, these are the bile salt and this is the fat. When these bile salts act upon the fat, this fat is emulsified and change into the small droplets known as the fatty droplets. This process known as the emulsification of the fat. The main purpose of emulsification of fat is that if fat is not emulsified, then small droplets are not formed and fat cannot be digested. Due to the emulsification, fatty droplets are formed, so the surface area of the fat increase and lipid digesting enzyme digested very easily. And another function of boiled salt is to change the acidity of chyme into the alkaline form, as pancreatic juices can digest the food substances. Because the pancreatic juices work in the alkaline medium, they cannot work in the acidic medium. So they convert acidic pH into basic pH for the proper working of the pancreatic juices. Along with these functions, liver also perform another functions. These some functions are liver is the storage organ of food. Liver store the excess glucose in the form of glycogen. Liver also homeostatic organ. It maintains the glucose level in the blood. When glucose level rises above the set point, glucose converted into the glycogen and stored in the liver and muscles. When glucose level fall in the blood, then glycogen once again converted into the glucose. This function known as the homeostatic. Then the next function of liver synthesis the amino acid and vitamins. Next, liver is the detoxification center, means poisonous or harmful substances are detoxified into the harmless substances by the activity of liver, therefore known as the liver is the detoxification center. Next, formation of urea. When the metabolism of amino acids and nucleotides take place in the liver, then amino group is released. That process known as the deamination. This amino group is highly toxic, so it must be removed from the body. In this way, amino group convert into the urea by the urea cycle. That urea cycle takes place in the liver. These are the important functions of liver. Now we discuss about another gland which is concerned with the duodenum. Pancreas is a leaf-like glandular organ present between the stomach and curve of duodenum. This pancreas is a dual gland, means it is the endocrine as well as exocrine. The endocrine part contain the two type of cell. alpha cell which produce the glucagon, and beta cell produce the insulin hormone. Alpha cell produce the glucagon hormone when glucose level lower in the blood level, and glucagon convert muscle and liver glycogen into the glucose up to the set point. And beta cells produce the insulin hormone when blood has the high level of the glucose. So insulin hormone lower the glucose level by the different way. For example, it converts the excess glucose into the glycogen. It converts the excess glucose into the amino acids. Then the next part of the pancreas, known as the exocrine part, this exocrine part of the pancreas produce the pancreatic juices. These pancreatic juices are produced by the pancreas in the response of acidic nature of chyme when it enters into the duodenum. The acidity of chyme stimulates the duodenal cells, and duodenal cells secrete the hormone known as the sectin hormone. This sectin hormone acts on the exocrine part of the pancreas, and pancreas produce the pancreatic juices. These pancreatic juices contain the different enzymes. One is the trypsinogen. Trypsinogen is an unactive form of trypsin. It converts into the active form by the activity of intrakinase. Now, this trypsin acts on the protein, and protein is digested into polypeptides. Another enzyme present in the pancreatic juices is chemotrypsin. This chemotrypsin acts on the milk protein known as the casein protein. This casein protein is digested into amino acids by the activity of chemotrypsin enzyme. Amylase. This amylase is very similar to the salivary amylase, but it is more strong as compared to the salivary amylase. This amylase acts on the starch and glycogen, and they digested into maltose. Another enzyme is the lipase, which acts on the lipids, and lipids digested into fatty acids and glycerol. In this way, these four enzymes digest the food substances in the pancreas, in the duodenum. Then food move to the next part of the small intestine known as the duodenum and ileum. Duodenum is about 2.4 meter long. The wall of duodenum produce the enzymes. These enzymes further digest the food substances. Wall of duodenum produce the enzymes which are present on the microvilli. These enzymes are maltase, sucrase, protease, lactase, polypeptidase, dipeptidase. Maltase act on the maltose and convert into the glucose, and glucose on the sucrose. Sucrase act, sucrose convert into the glucose plus fructose. Lactase act on the lactose and digested into glucose and galactose on the polypeptide. Peptidase enzyme is active and change into dipeptides. On the nucleotides, nucleotidase act and convert into nucleosides on the dipeptide. Dipeptidase enzyme is active and change into amino acids. In this way, all the components of the food is digested into the simple, soluble and absorbable form. Then this food substances move to the next part known as the ileum. Whole the inner surface of the small intestine contain the finger-like projections known as the villi. These villi increase the surface area for the absorption of digested nutrients into the blood stream. In the next lecture, we will discuss about how these villi absorb the nutrients and in which part of the villi particular component of food is absorbed.